Hello there YouTube, I am Wheelchair21 and on today's rolling review it is the Bandai Tamashii Nations S.H.Figuarts Kamen Rider Build RabbitTank form, which is a part of the 10th anniversary celebration line. Well, that's what at least Tamashii Nations is trying to tell us in the press release. First off, this box art is pretty swell and uses the basic style that Figuarts have been using for like the last 2 years of the more smaller micro boxes. However, it is quite more colorful, featuring reds and blues to highlight the fact that, you know, RabbitTank is the red rabbit and the blue tank. And honestly, it's a nice compact box. Our interior is rather simple due to the fact that the figure itself is by itself. There are no accessories for it this time around. There's no drill crusher, no actual, lion phone, just some hands, your driver, and the full bottles, which are actually removable, and we'll show you that in the review in just a few moments. Alright, and here we have RabbitTank out of the box. First off, I want to say the colors are a lot duller than I expected them to be. I expected a bright cherry red and a bright blue. However, they're more of a crimson red and a basic metallic blue, which means it can be light or it can be dark and dull. All depends on how the light reflects off of it, as you can see in the light and in the camera here. It has a light look when it's getting enough rays hit onto it, or it's a dark, dull blue. And I think that is really outstanding to the contrast of shades and colors and light reflection, or light reflection, these paints are done up as. Because you can see that there's a bit of like a gloss finish or a matte finish depending on the segment or the area on the body. Like up on the shoulder here, it doesn't seem like it's hit with a full-on gloss in some places, but it could just be that they just used a lighter type, like maybe they toned it down a little. And I honestly love the overall duller, charcoalish bodysuit. Like, I really feel like this whole color scheme complements it so well. And it also gives off that kind of math vibe of using different colors to like try to color code and teach students kind of an ordeal. One thing I do like is the actual compound eye effect for your left rabbit eye. I really like how it has like a jagged blade, almost like an eyebrow going into like an actual like ear. And then you also have the blue tank here for the right eye. And I think this is supposed to be the actual tank barrel sticking out of it for his antenna, which is pretty smart. Now, it could actually just be like a radio antenna attached to said tank, but you can't really tell. Who knows? And you also have that recreation here where the two parts meet on the breastplate. Overall, that is one cool aspect. Aside from that, you got the spring for the rabbit here, and you got your tank tread on the toe here. So I think that's one unique idea that we have in these forms, are how either the arms look different from one another or how the actual feet are done up for the actual signature boot. For our points of articulation, they're actually pretty incredible. You got shoulder joint like a basic figure, but it's a little bit tighter, nice torque to it. You got double jointed elbows, which, as you can see, are able to bend. And it also has like a little bit of an elbow pad to it that may pop off or pop in and out. You have your basic wrist joint. You have your abdomen. You have your head, which swivels impeccably amazingly and not really hindered by the overall huge breastplate armor coil, or I should say collar. You have your hips, which are actually hindered by the amount of the upper thigh and the actual pelvic region. Like, they don't go in real well. You gotta readjust your entire mold just to get the legs to go somewhat inwards. So I think this is supposed to be a way to try to stop making it, I guess, going into itself, be like a little bit more of a streamlined movement to the suit, which I doubt. I don't know if that's just an issue with how they sculpted the figure, but you never know what's going on with Tamashii and Bandai. You have your double jointed knees, which have a plate on them that does pop off and can get lost, so I sometimes insist people put a little bit of dab of super glue on them and it'll keep it nice and firm. Your ankle joint as so, usual ankle joint, toe joint, and, you know, pretty much nice give on all areas. Now, the reason I left off the build driver at last is because the actual crank here, or wrench, does work. You have your full bottle actual slot here, and the belt is easily able to come off once you pull the lower abdomen off your groin and hips and torso, like once you pull the entire ab apart. And then you have your actual full bottles, which are removable. And to get them out, you kind of just pop them off and hope they don't go flying too far. Now here's the first of your full bottles, the Rabbit full bottle, and as you can see, it's really small and very tiny. It's easy to get lost, and the way it looks is pretty similar to your actual deluxe full bottles. And then the tank, it's not too different from the Rabbit one. They do try to put a lot of the details into this thing, but because they're so tiny, you can expect that some of those features are missing. But I gotta say, this is an impressive idea. However, I do feel like several collectors are gonna have these missing eventually, at least one point in their lifetime. It's evaluation time, and for my final evaluation, S.H.Figuarts Kamen Rider Build RabbitTank form is one of those amazing figure arts where the details, the paint applications, the sculpt, and overall design are practically perfect, and there's nothing that one can really complain about for the overall figure. However, due to the fact that it is missing accessories, it is kind of weird, because this is sort of like a throwaway from Tamashii Nations, where they're like, hey, we're only going to charge this thing at like 2,500 yen, roughly around the price of what we used to charge figure arts in general back 10 years ago. So, I guess, you can't really complain at that point, but you can be a little annoyed that to get the accessories, you have to go the premium web shopping route, because it is with the motorcycle, it is with the bike to get the dual crusher, whether it be in its gun or saber form. So that's kind of the only mishmash thing about it. Overall, though, I do love a lot of the, applications of the paint and the details and the sculpt, where I can't really hate it. I mean, for 2,500 yen, roughly $25 USD, you can't complain too frickin' much. I mean, unless you're one of those guys that really needs to have the accessories. However, that shouldn't really be a problem. And if you still need to get this figure, like you've been holding out on it, just go to CS Toys Japan or Ami Ami. They probably should have enough in stock to, fill those quos and qualms. Nevertheless, if you like Kamen Rider Build, RabbitTank form, leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you already haven't, as well as check me out on social media at Wheelchair21 on Facebook and Twitter, and Taja_Doyle on Instagram, as well as HeroClub.com. Nevertheless, I'll see you all next time with another rolling review and/or Doyle's DVDs.